A very good evening and welcome along to the JP Broadcasting Network for live coverage of the first of four recruitment rounds for the Tanso Racing Group and Clark St James GT3 series. My name's Alex Goldschmidt. I'm going to be joined in the booth by my good compadre, my comrade in arms. A very good evening, Mr. James Parfitt. How are you, buddy? It's great to be back here on a Monday evening here with some good old GT3 action.
Yeah, I'm doing good, mate. Looking forward to this one. Very interested to see how these guys get on here, and I think it's going to be an exciting one. I think we've got with the new format as well, which I'll let you run through in a minute. I think there's going to be a lot of action. Catlaunya, yeah, I don't know, dude. 1 minute it can be okay, 1 minute it can't. It really just depends on how the racing is and what goes on. But I think this could be an exciting one, and I'm looking forward to it. Test this new format and seeing how these guys get on.
So, just to give you a lowdown, folks, up until the 18th of August, we're going to have four recruitment races, including the first one here at Barcelona tonight. Next week, we go to the home of British Racing at Silverstone Grand Prix. Then the 4th of August, Mugello in Italy, and then Road America on the 18th of August. Now, the format is going to be quite straightforward. It's a 10-minute closed qualifying session. We're going to have a 90-minute race. All drivers will have a maximum fuel allowance of 60%, which means there will be a mandatory pit stop for every single one of the drivers, so they will have no choice, in other words. And it is a case of bringing you talent on board for the upcoming 8th season. We had a great season for Season 7, and Season 8 looks just as promising as we are underway with the final 3 minutes of the 10-minute qualifying session. So there is one fast repair allowed. There is also the fact of these drivers, some of which might want to make their presence known ahead of Season 8, which I understand is going to be starting on the 1st of September. And we are still waiting for a lot of the calendar to be confirmed. But at the moment, Sam Berry, Mr. Fresh Rubber from Season 7, has made the switch to Mercedes from Ford. He's currently fastest at the moment with 2.5 minutes to go on a 1:41.495. Craig Corish, who switches from Porsche to BMW, is currently second ahead of Season 6 champion and Season 7 runner-up Harry Hartley-Price, who's also made the switch to the Merc. Tim Reed has also switched from BMW to Mercedes. Tim Cullimore is fifth and is leading the AM classification. Also, our Season 7 champion, Michael Gray, from Full Tilt Motorsports. Well, he's put in a class of one. It's either Elite or Alien. We're just going to stick Alien because he was literally so dominant in Season 7. We are still waiting for a few drivers to put a time on the board. But Sam Berry looking rather handy in the fresh rubber Mercedes at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, he is at the moment. He's sitting on pole position, doing a great job. Now, a lot of people recently have been changing over to the Merc, so I'm quite interested to see how they get on here and how that works out, because they're not the only one that's been switched over. There was a series I was looking at earlier, and the Mercs were strong as well. So maybe there's been an adjustment on the Mercedes. Who knows? And but at the moment, it seems to be the car of choice.
Yeah, Scott Kostrick in the McLaren. Now, we've seen a few changes to the Corvette. Most notably, our good friend, Mr. Zoomies himself, Joseph Lopez. James Moore is in the Corvette, along with Sergio Cabral from Upshift Esports. We are also going to have some live stewarding tonight here on this opening round out of four. We've also got a couple of Ferrari 296s. The duo of Phil Giles and James Vardigans have switched to the Cavallino Rampante from Maranello. But Sam Berry still very much the quickest out there. But it is really, I mean, you look at how close Peter Duke, who's managed to get into the session, he's switched from the Acura to the Mercedes. He's just put it P5. 4/1000ths behind Tim Reed as we run on board with Tim, who's currently making his way into Bank Sabadell. And then we're not using the RACC chicane. We're using the previous variation, the classic variation, where they go through Europe car and then go down the hill and carry the momentum through into New Holland. Now, this circuit itself, 4.657 kilometers, 14 turns. So effectively, you've got just under 2.9 miles of tarmac as Tim Reed goes across the line. No improvement there. Sean Clark from Clark St James, he's had a bit of an off. He's switched to the BMW. for this season. But Sam Berry, out of everybody, the only two drivers that didn't set a lap time were Michael Gray and Callum Milam. But it's 90 minutes on the clock here at Barcelona. A nice mixture of circuits for the recruitment races, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got something to look forward to here as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing how these guys can get on. Who's going to come out on top? That's going to be the question. I'll be interested to see how this one works out and who comes out on top here. But I think overall, it could be an exciting one, Mr. Goldschmidt. I'm looking forward to this. I think this is going to be one of them where they've got to sort out pit stops. They've got to get it all, sorted and mixed. And, very exciting. Right, here's the grid.
Okay, so Sam Berry kick starts on pole position for the first of 4 recruitment rounds for Tanso Racing Group and Clark St. James GT3. He's going to be lining up with Craig Corish alongside on the front row. Harry Hartley-Price and Tim Reed on row 2 with Peter Duke and Tim Cullimore quickest of the yams in row number 3. Shawnee Clark and Scott Kostrich round out the top 4 rows with Daniel Paul and Harry 7 rounding out the top 10. Sean Atkinson and the returning Sergio Cabral round out the top 6 rows, completing your top 12. Chris Haynes, who's switched from Rexy, that's a big surprise. He's going to be in the Macca this time around. He's joined on row 7 by James Moore. Joseph Lopez and Mark Wesley ran at row 8 with Joel Loden, Phil Giles, James Vardigans, Michael Gray and Callum Milam. Michael Gray will be in pink, not to be confused with Connor. Who I understand is going to be keeping an eye on the action. He's not racing, but he's having some kind of behind-the-scenes role in terms of keeping an eye on what is transpiring. But it is going to be a short run through the formation. They're going to be going into La Caixa, and then they're going to go into Bank Sabadell, and we've got the Porsche 911 safety car ready and primed. Just waiting for Callum Milam to maybe ready up, but it looks like if he doesn't ready up now, he isn't. He might start from the pit lane, but there you see Craig Corish deciding to put on the Valentino Rossi Team WRT livery there as he lights up the rear tyres and puts a couple of 11s down on the circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. Some great liveries out on the race circuit. Of course, Sam Perry is the one that creases me up every time in that fresh rubber liveried machine. Does a stellar job. No Callum Milam, though, at the moment, not even in pit lane. Michael Gray will be ducking out towards the end of this race after an hour because he's got a prior engagement. So he'll be nipping out at the same time. We've got Peppa Pig there with James Vardigans in front of us. That's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on. But an hour and 30 minutes of racing coming up here. I am so glad they got rid of that Yankee chicane at the end.
Same here, because there's going to be a lot of speed carried through that part of the circuit. They've got to avoid the gravel on the outside of Europe Car and New Holland. So, Sam Berry and Craig Corish, Mercedes versus BMW on the front row of the grid as we are set and ready for a recruitment race number 1 here at the circuit of Barcelona, Catlaunya. The red lights are on. We're accelerating, and very shortly the lights will be out for the first time in this particular campaign. And Sam Berry leads the field. Tim Reed ducking up the inside of Harry Hartley-Price is going for second place through into Elf, but Craig Corish able to keep the inside line, but then it's in towards Renault. And that is a great start from Harry Hartley-Price. Tim Reed also trying to get through here at turn number 3 at Renault before they head hard on the brakes into Repsol. Craig Corish could be very closely losing third, which he does so. Corish keeps it to the outside, keeps the throttle pinned in the BMW.
Yeah.
We've got Tim Cullimore running out the top 5 at the moment. Sean Atkinson has dropped all the way to 10th place in the meantime, but a good set of exchanges on the early few corners of this opening lap here, JP.
Yeah, one man has not had a good set of exchanges is the dear old Mr. Peter Duke. Also in the Mercedes. There must have been an update I have not seen. And unfortunately, Peter goes round there, contact once again with the, I think that was not Joe Loudon, that was a Mercedes further up. It may have been Cullimore that he had contact with and has dropped all the way to the back of the order. But Berry, Merck, Price, Merck, Corish, BMW, Tim Reed on the lights already. Tom Cullimore in behind that. Kostrick through the left-hander of La Caixa they go. It's going to be interesting, but I do wonder when we're going to start settling down. And you can see on board with Sergio Cabral, it's not going to be anytime soon.
Oh, he's going to dive to the inside of Chris Haynes and the McLaren up to P11 goes the Portuguese driver in the Corvette. Oh, nearly a bit of an exchange of paintwork between the two. And that means that Chris Haynes has gone exit stage left. on the approach through Bank Sabadell. He's keeping out of the way of those, and he nearly gets his nose cut off. As who was that in pit lane? Harry 7 might have had a jump start penalty, possibly. 3 wide coming out of the final corner. And on the cars to the outside, that is going to be Michael Gray. Now this man was absolutely impervious. Took, I think, all bar two wins in season 7 last time out. He dives to the inside, and that is going to be on Moore in the 11th place Corvette. So he's got through. It's just, well, no, Gray's hanging back a little bit. He's definitely giving it all. Now he's got James Moore up the road from him. Meantime, look at this scramble here with Gray stuck second in the third in the train. Well, Joseph Lopez is stuck behind. Oh no, and that was Giles. Giles in the number 22 Ferrari.
Yeah.
A big old moment coming out of turn 4 at Repsol and into Sayat. So down the descent they go, and ahead of Sean Clark, that is Daniel Bull in what looks to be, yes, that's the sole Porsche entrant this recruitment race. Sean Clark goes wide, tags the kitty litter, and Atkinson is going to dive to his inside into La Caixa. The Lamborghini gets it stopped on the anchors. So as we're fast approaching the conclusion of the second lap of racing, so 9.2 kilometres, well 9.3, 9.4 kilometres of racing already completed, but it is the battle between Harry Hartley-Price and Mr. Fresh Rubber himself, Sam Berry, the two Mercs battling it out at the front end of the field. We're right on board with the vice champion from season 7 and the champion from season 6, now in different colours this season, for this recruitment season drive that we've got. So 4 rounds. As Sam does not want to start blinking like that.
No, it's not going to help at all for Sam Berry, and it's not going to help for Harry Hartley-Price either. He's going to have to try and work out how to get round here. I'm not quite sure if he's going to be able to, but he's got to decide what he's going to do here, Hartley-Price. This is the problem. You can't pass what you can't see. And if you can't see him, you don't know where he's going to be. And that's the thing here as well. Through the left-hander, they go down into Sayat at the moment. And you can guarantee Hartley-Price is in conjunction with this, is probably sitting there thinking, I really don't want to be here. Because he's got nowhere to go. He can't go forward because at the moment, while Sam Berry's having a little blink like a traffic light, he ain't going to be able to know how to overtake him. So currently, Harry's kind of stuck. He's either just going to dive and hope that Sam stays on the racetrack and he's not there, or he sits in and tries to save fuel and jumps him in the pit stop.
Well, looks like the race want to come to a premature end for our good friend Mr. Peter Chippy after just the opening lap of the race. So we're going to see what happens here to Peter. He's closing in. That's the number 88. That's Mark Wesley. Oh, that's going to hurt. That's a big old whack on the front end of that naturally aspirated 6.2 litre V8 Merc. That, I think, for Peter was all she wrote, I'm afraid. But not to mention the fact that we've got 2 great battles emerging, not just the fact we've got Berry versus Price, but Corey versus Reed, and that's Munich versus Afalterbach. So that is also getting a bit fruity, and they've got Tim Cullimore in the number 42. So 4 out of the 5 cars in the top 5 are Mercs. Well, no surprise there. Like you say, I think a lot of people might have found that the Merc was a bit... I mean, if there has been an update that iRacing have implemented, or whether people have started to find that the cars have gotten used to the tyre model that we had updated through the midway point of Season 7, and it kept quite a few people out. As Harry Hartley-Price getting very, very close as the nose ducks down under braking through Sayat. He's really giving Sam Berry something to think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing here. Harry knows he's got to put him under pressure. He knows he's got to decide what he's got to do. Peter, Berry's out in front, right? And we know what happens to the person out in front. They use the most amount of fuel because they're punching the air. The guy behind doesn't have to use much in form of acceleration because he's getting his air already punched for him. So his fuel running will go down. So Price at the moment could sit there and save a bunch of fuel in behind. Same scenario in with Cullimore, Reed and Corish at the moment. They're in that same situation. They could do the same thing. Michael Gray's making his way through the order, but we know he's going to be ducking out in less than about 45 minutes time. So unfortunately, we can't really sort of comparison him. But Phil Giles is in the same bit as well with James Vardigans. You know, Phil obviously got hit. You can see the damage on the front of his car there. But this is a real big cat and mouse incident, you know, situation. Save fuel, undercut, overcut. What do you do? This is the best thing about a 90-minute race.
Yeah, it's always about the consistency. It's not always about going for the all-out lap times, but having to save that little bit of fuel. Harry Hartley-Price might use this as a little bit of strategy. Let's not forget, folks, these cars are not fixed setup; they're open setup. So it's down to how the drivers, how they have prepared for this race and put the wheel time in. Some people, like Michael Gray, who we know he's turned up for races before, where he's done like 20 minutes of practice and then gone straight into qualifying. And as I say that, he's just set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:42.073 on lap 4. But again, like you say, I mean, we're seeing now that Tim Cullimore's just lost a bit of time to Tim Reed as we see this inter-Ferrari battle, Giles versus Vardigans. Yeah, so James Vardigans, you could probably spot on there, say, you got Peppa Pig, where's George? You got Grandpa and Grandma Pig somewhere, then probably Daddy Pig snorting his head off somewhere on that livery. But it just goes to show that there are characters in this series, folks, and they do say variety on liveries is the spice of life, don't they, JP?
They absolutely do, dear sir, and I'm going to find out and see if I can find out where all the rest of the characters are. That's going to be quite interesting to see here. But yeah, these two having a nice little battle side by side at this moment in time. Vardigans on the left-hand side. He does go... No, Giles, sorry, does go past Vardigans and makes that move, and through he goes. This up front battle, Berry, Price, Corish is in the same situation. Reed, Cullimore, they're kind of flicking in and out on this one. So it's kind of like we're getting really close, then we're dropping back, then we're getting really close again.
Yeah. Now, if anyone might remember what we had last season, we did have 45-minute flat-out sprint races with a mandatory pit stop where the drivers were limited to maximum 50% of the fuel capacity allowed in the vehicle at any one time. This time with the 90-minute endurance format, it's 60%, so there's an opportunity for a little bit more conservation. And also the fact is, with a 90-minute endurance race, of course, the tyres are going to be a bone of contention as well, because it's not just about consistency of lap time, it's also keeping an eye on your fuel limit level, keeping an eye on how the tyres are as well, because we both know that a set of tyres will last an hour, but it depends on how hard or how long these drivers push this 60% fuel allowance that they've got in the tank.
That's the thing as well. You know, we've got 90 minutes of racing. So they're going to have to, I think, if they want to make this to the end, they are going to have to look at changing tyres. I don't think they're going to be able to make these last 90 minutes. And if they did, I think it's going to be a very slidey car by the end of this. Unless they're going to work wonders with their tyre wear and their tyre balance and how to make sure that they don't go and burn them up, well, I've got a funny feeling pit stops are going to be of a plenty here. Michael Gray is just literally motoring through the field, bro. This guy's just in a different planet. He's in the background there on his own.
Yeah, so the thing is, at the moment, the battle between Corish, Reed and Cullimore is starting to intensify once again. Reed is really starting to pick up the pace, and he was the best part of nearly 0.3 of a second quicker than Craig Corish on that last tour. So we're now on lap number 7 of this race. Over 10 minutes have elapsed out of the 1 hour and 30 minutes running around here at the circuit. But yeah, looking very, very close indeed. I think Tim Reed is really starting to tee up Craig Corish. Now, the main overtaking opportunity here, folks, as we've seen in previous races, will have been coming out of New Holland at the 14th and final corner through the sweeping right-handed down the hill from Europcar, and then the long run into Elf. But again, it's that catch-22 situation whereby the drivers have to be very, very careful how they strategize. They don't want to compromise those. So it's when we get into, you know, that half hour to 45-minute window, we're getting towards half time, that could be the case where we might see some drivers maybe hold back a little bit more than we're seeing in this early stage of the race. And the gap between Sam Berry and Harry Hartley-Price is now on the verge of touching a second, whereas the gap between Reed and Corish in the last few corners or so, maybe the last lap and a half, hasn't expanded more than half a second.
No, and that's the thing. Once again, you know, these guys have got to try and stay with it. This is the moment now where you sort of start deciding how you're going to play this. How are you going to cope with this one? You know, it's kind of that... it's that situation in F1 where you're trying to decide, is an overcut better? Is an undercut better? How long can I last? And am I going to be able to get to the end if I go in early? This, for me, is a big moment in the race, this first opening stint, because it's going to establish how far these cars are going to be able to go on these fuel tanks. 60%, mind you. They should technically, around here, get about 40 minutes of racing, possibly. But then are they going to be able to get the fuel save to the end? Or are they then going to be able to go a little bit longer and fuel save at the beginning? Whatever you're going to do during these 90-minute races, you have to commit to at the very start. If you don't commit to at the very start, you're going to be in trouble right from the beginning. So they've got to make sure that whatever they're doing straight off the bat. If they're not doing it off the bat, and I've seen it before in multiple other series of people trying to change strategies halfway through, it goes Pete Tong, and it goes Pete Tong quick, because they generally end up having to splash and dash, or they'll end up running out of fuel altogether.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that you're going to see cars like, say, the Porsche will probably have 120 litres, so 50% of that is 60 litres. So you're probably looking about 70 litres worth of fuel. The Ferrari could be on a very, I mean, I'm looking at it now with regards to some of the fuel capacity limits, and you're looking like, say, the 911 could be at a slight disadvantage, depending, but a lot of them will have anywhere between 120 to 130 litres worth of fuel available in the tank. I mean, the Mercedes AMG, you're probably looking on the Evo, maybe about 120 litres. The BMW possibly could be at around about 120. So, yeah, it's going to be a tall order of, as you said, the fuel saving is going to come into the fore. Plus, also, I think everyone will opt to go for a longer pit stop because of the fact that you have to look at, say, okay, right, my tyres will fall off the cliff. I'll be even more sideways than Dave Egan from Team Drift Games at Drift Masters. You know, the back end will be so all over the shop. You try and apply the power, and the car will literally rotate the front end with the back axle very, very quickly. Indeed, you'll find yourself pointing the wrong way.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it'd be Mad Mike at Goodwood all over again, drifting the hell out of the machine. That's the thing. They've got to make a decision. You've got two types of people. Well, you possibly might have three, but let's go with two for a minute, just for this analogy. You've either got the people like me, who don't care about fuel saving. We're just going to run it out, and we'll run it all the way out, and then I'll go into the pits and decide what I'm going to do from there. Right? Then you have the planners who will work out litre by litre how much they're doing per lap, how much they need to save per lap, how much time they've got to do, what's their bench time, is it going to be a 142.4 or are they going to do a 139, 142, whatever the situation may be. That's the other type of people. But it depends what people we've got in here. Have we got the me's who will just get on the track, run it out and have done with it, and then go in the pits? Or have we got them planners? And if it's the planners are the ones that normally will not require the splash and dash. It's the me's that will require the splash and dash. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, very, very much the case. And it will depend on how these drivers contain their, let's say, contain their competitive nature to try and put one up on the opposition. So, yeah, it just goes to show that it is about just being careful, still having eyes in the back of your head. I mean, we're now seeing that Michael Gray, he's now closing in on Tim Cullimore in that McLaren. So that McLaren has been an absolute weapon, like the Corvette was in Season 7. for Michael Gray from Full Tilt Motorsport. They're heading through Campson now into La Casa very, very shortly, and I would think that probably across the start-finish straight, Gray will be teeing up a move. He might even be trying to do that through the final corner at New Holland, the way that he's dancing with that McLaren 720S GT3 Evo behind Tim Cullimore, who is at the behest of the man in the Macca behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. Cullimore now. It's, man, I wouldn't even try and fight Michael Gray. I'd let him go and let him pull me forward. That's going to be the thing here. Sean Clark is having a nice little battle with Sean Atkinson there. If you sat behind someone, you can save, I'm going to presume that is, loads. If you're on your own, it's difficult. Yeah, and that's the thing. But that's why many people are like, Catlaunya, right? And I'll put this into perspective for you. The racing I have seen at Catlaunya, you have two types of racing. You have very follow me leader, or you'll have great overtakes all the time, right? And this is just the way the Spanish makeup of this circuit is. And it's the same in a lot of other things as well. And that's the thing. If you are in behind somebody like Tim Reed is, who's been following Corish for a while and hasn't really gone anywhere, he's got the option to be saving fuel. If you're Michael Gray, who's only here for about another 30 minutes, you're just going full flat and want to run it out. There you go, it's fairly obvious. But if you are on your own, yes, you can lift and coast. And don't get me wrong, people do lift and coast all the time if they are solo. I've seen it over multiple different leagues and broadcasts. But you've also got them people to worry about as well. But they're the people that sometimes will not get it right. That's the thing. And you've just got to make sure whatever you're trying, as I said before, do it from the very beginning. Do not half-heart it and come and decide that you want to do it halfway through the race, because otherwise you're going to be in trouble. So make sure whatever they're doing, and Tim Reed is a prime example at the moment. He's the one who's been sat there for a while. And you can see on his dash, it just completely goes off black. Every time he goes near corner entry, we'll stay on board down into turn one, and we'll see what he does here.
Yeah,
you don't need me to tell you, he's literally doing it right in front of you.
Exactly. He's not he's thinking about what he's wanting to do, but you know, we're 20 minutes in and the race, I would not say the word stagnant, it's just stabilised to a point where some people now, the big thing is that what has happened to Harry Hartley-Price, because he's just lost a bag for the time. He was right with Sam Berry, and he was right up his rear. Now it's gone up to 1.4 seconds, made that close to a second and a half. So Harry Hartley-Price has had a little bit of a moment somewhere. I mean, you look there, lap 8 is where he's lost the biggest amount of time, over 3.5 tenths of a second. He managed to claw a little bit of that back on lap 9. Now we're on lap 12, and I think it's just the case that they're settling into a rhythm, but mistakes can come early in a race, and they can come late in a race as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see he's just lost time over the last few laps. Mr. Luke Crowley, welcome in. If in doubt, smash that throttle down and do some racing, he says. So that's one way of dealing with it. That would be me, Luke. To be honest, there'd be no fuel saving under my right foot. I wouldn't even give it a go because I'd suck. So I would just go and literally run it full pelt and hope for the best.
Yeah, I think that probably would be you and me both thinking of that one. So it's just one of those things. Now, interesting on fuel. The car that I have identified at the moment, because I still haven't gone through all the brands whilst we're live on broadcast, the Ferrari 296 apparently has a fuel tank capacity of 104 litres. The rest of them seem to be coming at about 120. So the Ferrari could be the one that might be at the biggest disadvantage, but it has got one of the smallest displacement engines, which is a 3-litre twin-turbo V6. So that could be very interesting to see when we see Giles and Vardigans deciding to pit as Sean Atkinson for TS Liveries in the number 7 Lamborghini. Well, he'll be pretty good. I mean, he's right with Shawnee Clark at the moment. They're battling for P4 in AM, but more importantly, it's P9 overall on the road. So this is another close battle that we've got. But Yeah, Gray is right with Corish right about now. Gap is less than 0.2 of a second. Cabral and Lopez are having the Inter-Corvette squabble down in 15th and 16th respectively.
Yeah.
So there's a few... Connor Pink, having fun filtering through the 1X's. Laugh out loud emoji, he says in chat. Thank you, Connor, for that one.
He is. Luke's there as well. Gray's on a mission through, though. Some nice overtaking. Dude, the guys are literally in a different planet, right? And he's only here for about another 30 minutes, give or take, either, because he's got another thing to do. So he basically started at the back as well. So within precisely 23 minutes, he's got pretty much up to third, chasing down second and first. The guy is literally an alien in his own right, but he will be leaving before the end of the race, so it will give somebody else the opportunity to win here. It does look like James Bardigan's just giving himself more drama. Oh, that's him and Callum Island. Oh, no.
Oh, he's lost it.
Yeah, too much carrying the power there. And accelerating around the corner, which you probably should have waited for. But yeah, this is kind of the eat your Sunday roast, sleep on the sofa F1 moment, isn't it? You know what I mean? And then wake up with 10 laps to go.
Yeah, that looks to be the case, to be completely honest with you. And it is just a case of just one wrong move, all of a sudden, whoops, there you go, and that's it, all she wrote. So... But he'll be able to gather himself back up from that one, to be completely truthful.
Yeah, absolutely. Craig Corish there and Tim Reed have just swapped places. Craig has now jumped in behind Tim. Joel Loudon is having a nice little battle down with Phil Gile. Joseph Lopez, where is Yazumi's livery on the Corvette? As he's going after Sergio Cabral here. So we'll see what Joseph can do in this Corvette, of course.
He's got a bit of a Brawn GP tribute livery style thing going on there, hasn't he, with the colours?
Oh. Dude, I saw one of these at Goodwood. It was absolutely immense. And it was astounding. My son got to sit in it as well and pretended that he was, like, you know, driving. But, and that's the only problem with the Corvette there. Sergio Cabral, back end wants to kill you unless you can get that stable. And that is... The Corvette is a very, very hard car to drive. It does the same thing as a Porsche, Alex. 1 minute it's running in the right direction, and then the next minute the back end says, "Oh, let me in there, matron," and wants to come around the front. So yeah, there we go for the Corvette, unfortunately. But yeah, going to be a bit of a learning curve for some of these guys in this Corvette to try and make sure they can keep that rear end on the floor as James Moore is in pit lane.
Yeah, well. It's going to be quite interesting how these drivers compensate for potential dramas like we've just seen there, where it's a Code Brown clean up on aisle 3. So hopefully we won't have too many drivers doing that, but we are 25 minutes now expired in this 90-minute race here at the Circuit of Barcelona, Catlaunya. Don't forget, next week, 7 days' time, same place, same time here on the JP Broadcasting Network. We will be having race 2 of the recruitment phase ahead of season 8 of the Tanso Racing Group and Clark St. James GT3 Championship. And that will be heading to the wonderfully sublime and one of the fastest average speeds that you probably have at a GT3 car, apart from maybe Monza, is going to be Silverstone. And that is one that I know for a fact that you and I are both going to love. They're going to be full bore for 90 minutes around the home of British motorsport.
Yeah, the racing, I think, at Silverstone's going to be good, right? Now, there are people and moments in racing where we sit back and we talk to, you know, me and you talk to different commentators and everything else, and then we go, right, they don't like this circuit, they don't like that one. Like our good friend, Mr. O'Leary, does not like Sebring, right? And we were there earlier, so that was quite amusing. I'm not a lover of Silverstone. The racing is always good, but I think it's because there's nothing to it. It's flat. That's the problem. And there's no undulation, there's no changes. You know, the circuit's blinking massive. You know, you have to get a bus to get around it. And we both know that. I've been up there in real life as well, and it is blinking huge. And you can't stand in one place and see multiple different corners like you can at Brands, like you can at Thruxton, and other circuits as well. It's just too blinking big. But I think for me, if there was something in there. A heel. I don't know. A stray hay bale like they have at Goodwood. Anything. Just to give it something. For me, I just find Silverstone as a racetrack quite boring to look at.
Yeah, from a spectator perspective, I completely agree. I mean, I think the first time I visited that track was in 1991, where, and it was the year after Mansell spectacularly decided to announce his retirement from Ferrari, and then Sir Frank Williams came in and said, no, Nigel, your history with us isn't done quite yet. That was still when we had Bridge Corner at that point. That was when Bridge Corner was still active on the circuit, but no longer, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, from a spectator point of view, but in terms of racing, if you want a vantage point, Brands Hatch Indy is perfect for spectators.
Yes.
I mean, I love that. Absolutely love that, where you see them going through every single corner. You know, I don't like Brands GP because you can see half the circuit in your foreground anyway, wherever you are. If you're at Park Curve, if you're on the Bradley Straight, if you're at Paddock Hill Bend, you know, even if you're sort of spectating, you know, way back from the kitty litter at Druids, you still get a great vantage point. As Michael Gray, well, as to say, he's making an impression like he is. I think this is probably the warning shot that we're waiting for across from season number 8, because he's looking left, he's looking right on Harry Hartley-Price as we are closing into the 30 minutes. So 1/3 of the race nearly completed here in recruitment race 1 out of 4. And Michael Gray is hunting down Harry Hartley-Price like he's standing still in that Mercedes.
Yeah, absolutely. He is at the moment. They'll be getting past him shortly, I'm sure. But I think it's going to be, who's going to be able to stop Michael Gray this season? If Gray is making this season, hold on a minute, let me just check something here. Because I did get a message.
Oh, okay. It's Inspector Parfitt on the case.
Yeah, okay, so I've read that message wrong. So I'm not too sure if he's here for the season or if he's just doing the odd recruitment race while he can. But either way, I'd be interested to know who's going to stop him during the season, if that is the case. Who's going to be able to stop Michael Gray? This guy has just come from last, sitting in second, and it's only taken him half an hour. Okay, that is just absolutely bonkers. You know, I'd love to see him to try it in an official, because I can guarantee the guy with the Red Bull livery will be the one that put him in the wall as well during an official. So that would be interesting to see. But yeah, he's literally now 1.6 seconds away from the leader, and we've got 1 hour to go. So he's definitely, I think, going to be in the lead, because he's only here for another half an hour as well. Before he's got to duck out. So, yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting one. However, for James Moore...
Oh, what's happened to the court? Right, let's have a look here.
Dude, I'm not quite sure what the weaving was doing for you. Not a lot, clearly.
No. And and that was the man who was our Series 7 AM champion, if I remember correctly, as well.
Yeah,
so
you're right. Lopez is in pit lane. I'm here for the season from next season. Now, I believe that is Hayden Young, isn't it, in Send It?
Yeah.
It is.
Now our leaders are dealing with back marker traffic. So all the way down to James Moore in 17th. They are a lap down on our leader, which continues to be Mr. Fresh Rubber, who's just up ahead there. I think Michael Gray is just going to... he might just decide, well, you know what, I might have 60% of the fuel tank in this Macca. I'm just going to absolutely burn it away like nobody's business. And then maybe just might call it time. They just go, yeah, that's it, me, done, you know.
Yeah, get to the front, I'm done with it, and leave it at that.
Exactly. Yeah, just get it out of the way, get the job done, go, yeah, I'm gonna vacate this fuel tank as quickly as humanly possible and leave it not even on fumes.
Yeah, he's going to do a run-up. And that would be about it here.
So, yeah, already it's just looking like that ominous sign here with Michael Gray, the alien from Full Tilt Motorsports in the 118 McLaren. Ran in the 118 Corvette last season, which was pretty much untouchable. But his first stumble, if if memory serves me correctly, was lap 1, Lecom, Spa-Francorchamps, and that was the first time we saw that man not finish a race at all. Pit stops coming in now. Shawnee Clark and Sean Atkinson have decided to dive in at the same time, and that is on lap number 18. So I'm wondering if drivers might have, well, it's dependent on whether they've thought, that 60% hasn't got me as, or I haven't fuel saved as much as I needed to, or the tyres have gone off a cliff. Now that's dependent on how their setup has worked, because setup, when it's open, the setup, if you tweak it one way, will give you really, really good tyre life. You put it another way, and it's going to fall off a cliff quicker than a big bunch of lemmings in an arcade game jumping off it as well at the same time.
Absolutely, and I think this is going to be Michael Gray very, very shortly into the lead.
As Harry Hartley-Price has now pitted as well. That has promoted Tim Reed, Craig Corish and Tim Cullimore to round out our top 5. Cullimore still leading the AMs, having started 6th on the road. Just over 33 minutes ago, as Michael Gray is bump drafting Mr. Fresh Rubber as they get past the Peppa Pig liveried car of Phil Giles in the 22 Ferrari, as we ride on board with Michael Gray in the 720 McLaren. Gap now 3.5 tenths of a second. We're on lap 20 at the moment. Sam Berry so far has led every single lap of this race. Scott Kostrich has just gone into pit lane from 8th, and that's P3 in the AM classification, as the leaders make their way through Campsa. And then it's going to be the short run down and into the hard braking zone for the left-hander at La Casa before we go into Bank Sabadell. And still Gray just waiting. I think this time around he's about a car length and a half behind Sam Berry. So this is going to tee him up nicely through Europe car and then into New Holland. And there you can see Michael Gray taking a wider line going through into Bank Sabadell just to carry a bit more speed through the corner. And then they've got one of the BMWs, I think that's Shawnee Clark, just up ahead. So let's see how big the closing speed is going to be, because Gray runs wide coming out of New Holland at a big old rate of knots. But the closing speed, he needed to be about 2.5 tenths of a second to be right on the rear diffuser, as Corish and Cullimore now at 35 minutes decide to pit in on lap 20. So Berry going for the long 3000 IQ strat in terms of the fuel, and Michael Gray just going absolutely all guns blazing, foot to the floor, or as like you like to normally say sometimes, give it the berries on the loud pedal.
Yeah, I think that's what he's doing, to be blatantly honest, as well. He's got 55 minutes to go. Well, 25 for him before he's got to duck out. They've already put a lap on Sean Clark. Next up the road is Mr. Atkinson in that Lamborghini. However, he's quite far up the road. He might not be able to get there. Hartley Price has obviously been into pit lane, the first of the pit stoppers. He's jumped Paul, Cullimore and Corish. So good job from him. The question is, 54 minutes. They went 40. Who's going to be brave enough to fuel save and get to the end here as well? Send it. Yeah, it's Hayden. Yeah, it is. Baz, still no internet. Hopefully be here for next season. Oh, Braz. Who's your internet supplier, son? Who's your internet supplier? Let me know.
Give him a kick up the jacksie.
Yeah, give him a big old run and full tilt him. You know what I mean? Make them realise.
I think, to be honest with you, this is looking... I mean, if Price, Corish, Cullimore, Kostrich and Paul are coming on lap 20... I think this is going to be more of a two-stopper race, the way things are looking, because there's no way, if they're saying that, unless they've short-fueled in the first stint, maybe.
Oh, they would do that. They're going to start with the maximum they're going to start with. Phil Giles has jumped out of pit lane. Oh, no, Phil Giles has already had some drama getting to there. Again.
Ooh.
In that Ferrari.
Now, oh, he's going to go through the kitty litter and over the sausage curb and puts the back end of the air, spins him 180 degrees the wrong way, lights up the rear tyres, doing his Jim Carner impersonation. There we go.
He would have been better off here. He would have been better off going straight now.
Yeah.
Don't, because he hit the sausage curb, which then bounced him up in the air. If he'd just gone straight off on and missed it, he would have been all right. But trying to make the corner cost him more than it did trying to not make it. Tim Reed in pit lane, so that's going to put Harry Hartley-Price, yep, does put him up into third here. Michael Gray and Sam Berry are showing us kind of how far they are actually able to go here, which is always good, because then that will give us an idea when we get into the race next time on how long they're going to be able to go. Because at the moment, we're coming up to 40 minutes. If they can get to 40 minutes, please stay on the circuit, they might be able to get to the end. It depends on how good they fuel save during the first part.
Yeah, that's going to be the crucial thing. I mean, Sam Berry has been running at his own pace. I mean, he's been doing low 142s, whereas we've seen Michael Gray as low as a 147.0. And now they both dive into the pit lane at the same time. So it looks like we could be at a stretch.
40 minutes, 38 minutes.
Yeah, so this is looking like we're going to have some splash and dashes at the end if they're unable. And I say this with the... And I'm not trying to take anything away from anybody. Fuel saving is an art form, and when you've got 60%, you know, if they had 100%, that car would have gone for an hour, easy, easy. But when it's 60%, you've got to look at the law of averages. Do you decide, am I going to go in a couple of laps earlier, and if I've saved a little bit of fuel, it gives me that extra maybe 2-3 laps at the end of the race, can I make it? That is the big question that these drivers will be asking themselves, because now, if it does become a 2-stop race, then it becomes a flat-out sprint for probably the final, 10 minutes? Depending on when they actually, if they do need to do that splash and dash, because if there is a second pit stop required, it will be fuel only, get that car out of pit lane sharpish, and it's quite a long pit lane, especially with the transfer time, because you're having to turn the car right a little bit more, going through New Holland at the final corner, but it's that transit time and that 60 kilometers an hour speed limit where you're going to be bubbling along at first gear, 60 kilometers an hour, waiting to hit your marks. If you miss your pit box window, that's going to be even worse, because you're going to be spending more transfer time and you're going to lose time and possibly places to the opposition if that splash and dash is potentially required.
Yeah, and Michael Gray, 4 seconds quicker than the guys in front on pit stop. Sam Berry, Price is only 1 second back from Sam Berry, so they're going to renew their battle, their little ta-ta-ta they were having. But Michael Gray, 8 seconds out in front, started dead last, let's not forget, there as well. Nothing to do with the supplier, waiting for them to lay new fibre in the road, so waiting for that. Baz, I've been there, mate. I've been there. Oh. You must be living out in the country somewhere, Baz, because I've been in the same boat, mate, where I've waiting to get full fibre into my house. Finally managed to do it, and yeah, now I reap the rewards of 900 up and 900 down. But Price and Berry are having a right little fisticuffs here, handbags at dawn, and Price has just passed Berry in that Merc. And I'm wondering, with Price being 25.7, Berry being 26.04 pit stop time, whether or not Harry Hartley-Price here is reaping the rewards of just being a little bit lighter.
Yeah, plus also the fact is he's had a couple of laps in his pocket, make that 3, because then his tyres will be up to temperature. Sam Berry is still trying to get heat into the tyres, and obviously that then correlates to the brake pads and discs on these cars. So the minute you get heat into the carcass of the tyre, it permeates through the alloy wheel, then goes through to the brake pads and discs, and then once they're up to full operating temperature, then you've got a car that you can really compete with. So I don't think it will be too long, to be honest here, JP, before Sam Berry has got all his weapons sharpened, tyres up to temp, brakes up to temp, and he'll be able to try and catch Harry Hartley-Price.
Yeah.
What will effectively be the de facto lead after Michael Gray ducks out in about 19 minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think he is going to be off with an hour gone. So this is basically effectively what will be the battle of the lead of the race. And I'm just going to be interested to see how this one pans out. We've got Joseph Lopez and Joel Loudon having a nice little bit of a ding-dong. Let's give them a bit of love at the back at the moment, as Harry 7 is just on his way out of the pit lane. Where are you going to come out near? Mind you, these two are going to be alongside you here. So Harry 7 is going to be in a battle with Loudon and a very badly blinking Lopez. Callum Milam's just been lapped in that Merc, so he's gone down the order, unfortunately, for Callum currently. So he's down, what is he? I think it's he's 3 laps down at the moment as well for Callum Milam. But Loudon, Lopez are going to have a nice little ding-dong with Harry 7 further at the back.
Yeah, so, Joseph Lopez got a little bit snaky out of braking, nearly tags the right rear of Joel Loudon in the 181 Merc, who is right with Harry 7 in the third of the BMWs that are here on the circuit here at the Circuit of Barcelona, Catlaunya. And for those that have already joined us, thank you for coming along for the ride for the Tanso Racing Group and Clark St. James GT3 Season 8 Recruitment Race 1 out of 4. We've got another 3 races after this one. Next week we'll have Silverstone, then the 4th of August we'll have Mugello, and the 18th of August we'll be heading to Road America. So keep your eyes peeled. If you haven't already, like, share and hit that subscribe button whilst you're at it. As again, Loudon, this could be an opportunity for him to get through on Harry 7. And this is through into Bank Sabadell. Who's that with them behind in the Merc? Just behind...
Callum Milam.
So Callum Milam is a couple of laps down, but as they say, that's a quartet of cars coming through New Holland. And in the meantime, Harry 7 in that BMW has managed to stretch the legs of the Munich vehicle. And, well, Callum Milam closing in on the Corvette of Joseph Lopez. That could get a bit close. He's now on bump drafting him. If he was any closer under braking, then I think he would have speared into the back of Lopez and sent him straight off at Elf and straight into the barriers at T1. But, bit of a mistake there from Harry 7. But Loudon is pretty much toe-to-toe with him. Coming out of Renault, it's going to be the run down to Repsol. Loudon might have the inside line. 7 cuts across the front. Lopez is there or thereabouts. This is a great scrap going on between these 3 as they head down from Repsol into Seat. Lopez trying to get the crisscross on Loudon and the Mercedes, who's still charging hard at 7 in the BMW. This is a great scrap here for 13th, 14th and 15th. As we are close to the halfway mark in this first of 4 recruitment races for Season 8.
Yeah, these guys further back having a nice little ding-dong there once again. They're going at it full bore. Callum Milam's even getting himself involved. But Lopez, Loudon, 7. It's a Merc, Corvette, BMW battle. Berry and Price are back together up front. Michael Gray's 12 seconds out in front at the moment. At the same time, so great job from all of these guys here. Nice little fighting all the way through. Somebody to scrap with. Sam Berry and Harry Hartley-Price are having their own little ding-dong. Funny though, I'm in a town, 4 houses on the street with no fibre. They ooped up the network, which was when it was originally... Yeah, dude. So it must be out in the country, Baz. Bit like me, out in the country. I got more sheep than I have humans.
Out in the sticks.
Yeah, I won't say out in the sticks, which is not, well known. In fact, I probably you wouldn't even know where to pin us on a map, to be honest.
Well, this is going to be very close here. Harry Hartley-Price has got a very hard-charging Sam Berry alongside him. And, yeah, he let him go through there very, very quickly indeed. And I think what Harry Hartley-Price, he wants to be the follower, not the leader at this point, because it's going to help him save that fuel. Let that Mercedes just sip on that high-octane fuel that's in the race tank and the fuel tank at the moment on that Mercedes. So nice little strategy call there from Harry Hartley-Price, who's going to let Sam Berry do all the hard work again.
Yeah, but he was half a second slower in the pit lane on his pit stop. 25.7. For Hartley-Price and a 26 for Sam Berry. So I think Hartley-Price has realised actually old doo-doos, if I'm going to try and get to the end here, I need to go in back behind him again, because I think that's the situation for Hartley Price. I don't think he can get to the end. In fact, I think most of these are going to struggle to get to the end, and there will be another pit stop, but I think Hartley Price might be going just a little bit, or trying to go just a little bit longer.
Yeah, considering he pitted on lap number 19, and then Sam Berry was able to eke out a total of 22 laps out of that 60% of fuel that he had in the car at the start of the race. Bearing in mind he's doing all the hard work, the dirty work, so to speak. So, but the thing is that Harry Hartley Price, with that aero wash and that dirty air being punched, or that dirty air in front of him, with that hole being punched through the air by Sam Berry, it's going to make the car a little bit more skittish and a little bit looser on the back end, especially when you're trying to go through corners. And the gap now has gone up to about 0.6 of a second. So hard on the brakes into turn 1, the right-hander here at Elf, and then it's into turn 2, and then it's going to be into 3 here at Renault. But it is still well, at the minute, it is notwithstanding, okay, yes, Michael Gray is going to be with us for about another 12 minutes, and then, Sabaz Racing North Norfolk, so you're about a couple of hours away from me, so reasonably out in the sticks.
Miles away from me, Baz. Miles away from me.
Yeah, that's about a 6-hour drive each way, I think, from where you are in Somerset, JP.
Yeah, absolutely, give or take. So, yeah. Never mind, Baz. I feel your pain, bro. I feel your pain. As we've got 42 minutes left on the clock. I do believe that all of these are going to have to stop again. I don't think anybody's going to be able to get to the end here. I think they're all going to have to stop again.
Yeah, and I think really when we were looking at the times when people were coming in, we saw Harry Hartley Price. I mean, what was it, 35 minutes in? So that is going to be 1 hour and 20 minutes. So we're going to see some pit stops very, very late in this race. I'd probably say with 10. Well, I'd probably say with just to sort of like open up that window. It would really be the case of maybe giving yourself a little bit of a window rather than leaving it right until the fuel tank's nearly on empty and it's running on fumes. You want to give yourself maybe a couple of laps buffer. As that was a big moment there for Tim Reed coming out of the final corner. He hung on to it. He kept the loud pedal wide and truly open, kicking the kitty litter onto the circuit, dust up into the air. So that was a bit of a squeaky bum time moment there for Tim Reed, but well held.
Yeah, great job from him. But you can see how just whether or not there was tyres involved with that at the same time. I'll be very, very interested to know. But Joseph Lopez, Joe Loudon going at it once more. Neck and neck. Oh, there goes Harry 7.
Oh dear, right, this could be a case of, well, he's got Michael Gray behind him. He turns into the corner, over rotation, bang, backwards into the kitty litter. And that was the, was that to me, to you, for Michael Gray to get through?
It was. Connor Pink, I really should know this, but can you guys see the incident limit before penalty? Oh, don't worry, it's 20. Aren't you aware there's a thing called research, Mr. Connor? And there's a big notice that you can read that gives you everything. If you need that information, I'm more than happy to send it to you, dear sir.
Yeah. 20x before a penalty. And I've even made sure I got the sporting regulations up on my screen as well.
Oh,
just
dear. And you're RC. Oh, blimey, we are in trouble.
That's all I'm saying on that one. Meantime,
go on, Callum, have him, son.
Oh dear, it was.
That's because he's blue flag. He won't get involved.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to incur the wrath of Mr. Pink.
Well, it's all right. He can have as many X's as he wants. Pink won't do anything because he don't know what they are.
Oh, dearie me. Never mind. Well, on that note, we are into the last 40 minutes of this 90-minute race. So again, Lopez is just a little bit too close to that right rear corner of Joel Loudon in the Mercedes in the 181 car. That was... Joseph has just been a bit too close on that one. He said, "I don't control the incident limit. Leave off."
No, you feeling like
We know you don't, Connor. We know you don't. It's iRacing.
Get Sophie to defend you. Clearly, come on, Connor. You need support from your good wife there as well. Oh, dearie me. Soph, they're picking on me. Oh, bless him.
Yeah, she'll probably say, she'll probably say, "I'll send a little Axel to sort them out. Don't you worry."
Yeah, she'll turn around and go, "Well, you brought it on yourself, you plonker." You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, there we go.
But still, at the moment, the lead that Michael Gray has now opened up, it was 8 seconds out of pit lane, and now that has doubled. It's 16 seconds he's got between himself and Mr. Fresh Rubber, Sam Berry. Second, Harry Hartley-Price P3, Tim Reed, despite the code brown. Callum Mylan, what are you doing with the flashes on at Joseph Lopez? Don't. We know you want to get a lap back, mate, but you don't need to be that close to the rear of the Corvette again into T1. Because
I think Callum's quicker here.
Yeah, that's I mean that's the thing with that 6.2 litre naturally aspirated V8. It is a lot quicker in a straight line than that 5.5 litre V8 flat plane crank Corvette.
He's got to go through on him. Go through on him.
That's the thing. I mean, like, he was right up his rear for about, I think, at least 3/4 of that start-finish straight. And he easily had the pace and the closing rate to go, right, if I was Callum, I probably would have just gone, I'll do the flashes once, then just dive bomb him and see what happens. But if he does that, then the problem is that if he doesn't take out Joseph, he'll take out Joel in front by mistake. You won't want to do that.
No, and I think that's the thing. This is one of them situations now where you sit back and go, all right, what do I do here? I'm quicker. Do I go through? Do I not? I did it in an official when I ended up a lap down in the F4s the other day at Thruxton. I went through and then got called a barrage of names. Mind you, I'd left the guy back, about 5 seconds behind me after I went past him. And he was like, oh, it's you're a back marker. What you're doing overtaking. I can see Joseph's got a drive through at the moment. There he goes. Pills off.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, he was all like, what you doing? You're on blue flag. I was like, dude, I'm quicker than you. I left you 5 seconds. What are you having to go at me for? So he's going to go poodle off through and have a drive through here. Michael Gray's still going to be running out in front for at least another 6 minutes, I think, at the moment, till he ducks in and calls it a day. Then Sam Berry is going to be taking the lead. And then after that, we're going to be very spread out here, unfortunately. And I think we could have an F1 moment.
Oh, hang on a second. Joseph Lopez has just decided to put the car on the air jacks. So, interesting.
Very much so.
So probably getting the pits, maybe thinking, I want to make sure I've got enough to get to the end of the race. Meantime, top 3 in Pro and Am at the moment as thus. We've got Tim Reed here in 4th position. Then we've got Harry Hartley-Price, who's 1.7 seconds behind Sam Berry, who leads the pros. Am is looking rather interesting. We've got Tim Cullimore leading, and he's 6th overall. He's 17.2 seconds ahead of Scott Kostrich in the number 01 McLaren. And then we've got Daniel Bull in the number 82, who's actually stuck with Porsche machinery as well. Now, he was second.
For how long is going to be the question? I think if this is a recruitment race, right, I would literally decide that I'm going to just try each car and which one I could deal with there as well. Drivers and officials are too quick to think the blue flags are F1 rules. You did nothing wrong, JP, apart from not calling them names back. Yeah, see, the problem is, Luke, is I use my account for work. So I do have to be just a little bit more tentative and a little bit more careful, because there's always that geezer that will try and go and report me. And then if anything happens, if iRacing does choose to do anything with my account, obviously I'm knackered. So I do have to be a little bit sensible. As Callum Mylan jumps out of the way of Harry 7, I don't think you need to do that, mate. I think he is, you're about just as quick as him. So yeah, so I've got to be a little bit erring on the side of caution there, Luke, unfortunately, with that one, because otherwise I'd get myself in trouble. And that ain't good for anyone.
No, especially with the amount of broadcasting that we do here on the JP Broadcasting Network, and there is quite a lot still to come. over the coming week. We've at the moment also got the Monza Historic race going on for Radical SR8. So after this, if that's still on, go on and tune in. That's round 10, season 4. We've also got the FDL Player One SimGear SFL Championship round 3 at Road America coming up, along with BSE summer season 11. Round 11 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Then we got the free F4 League fun race live from Donington.
That's my point of view. That should be fun.
Because James's POV. I was just about to say that. Then we got the Parabolic Company's J2 ICS GT3 Sprint Championship. Round 2 from the long variation of the Circuit de Nevada. League 0 Super Formula heads to Road America for round 5. The final round of the virtual circuit racing British Touring Car Championship round 8 is going to be taking place at the Nürburgring Grand Prix Series. We've also got NARS early doors Friday morning, which is round 7, I believe, if I remember correctly. There's so much going on. We've got IGP Super 4. Whoa. Lauda just got a bit screwy coming out of the final corner. And then Harry 7 went, oh, thank you very much. That's the door open, and Callum Minen gets a get out of jail free card and gets a lap back.
Yeah, but the question is he going to stay there or is he going to let Lauda back through? That's the problem. Personally, I think he should stay there and have a go at RE7. But, you know, that's just me. Yeah, lots coming up. So there we go. I've got to set up the other NARS and the other stuff. I only got the information the other day, so I've got to set all that up as well. But, yeah, lots happening this week on the JPB YouTube channel. So tune in, guys, once more. 32 minutes on the clock. Everybody's fairly spread out. Callum...
Michael Gray is in the pits, so that's it. Thank you, Michael, for attending tonight. Hopefully we'll see you for the whole thing next week.
Absolutely. Connor, I think we need a safety car. Can we throw a safety car? Because otherwise this could be a JP and AG podcast by the end of this.
Throw the safety car. If you throw the safety car, it will be a blooming podcast.
No, they'll bring them back together, wouldn't they? Bring them all back, and then we can have another little bit of a ding-dong for the last part of the race.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I had that at Monza for Porsche Schwarz Cup Swiss. We had a 2-hour enduro race, and someone parked their Cayman on the exit of Ascari, and then we had a 18.5-minute sprint race right up until the end.
Yeah, let's do that. Sounds cool.
Yeah. Well, don't forget the On the Virtual Track podcast, hosted by our very own James Parfitt, is still continuing to do the rounds, so don't forget to check out that one as well. Along with that, Connor Pink is also one of the guests that is also featured on said podcast. So that is another reason for you all to subscribe to JP Broadcasting live here on YouTube.
Actually, we've got quite an interesting one coming up this week as well. Luke Crowley was on there with me as well once again. You know, a good old chat with Luke. That will be going live as well very shortly. And then we had Sean Clark at the same time as well. So we're on episode 19, but we're interviewing Jack Ashton tomorrow.
Oh, the Jack Ashton.
Jack Ashton.
I know that guy very, very well. I've met him in person. He's a great guy, very, very quick racer, but also a good person to know at the same time. But looks like Scott Kostrich has now decided to pit with 30 minutes to go. Now, I don't remember when he came in. I think it was around about lap 20. So, yes. Yeah, we are seeing that drivers are going to be coming in for... It is going to happen. It is going to be a secondary pit stop here at Barcelona. I kind of called that a little bit, but I didn't know how early it was going to be. I didn't expect. So Harry 7 has come in. Joseph Lopez has come in for a second pit stop. Sean Atkinson has also come in the Lamborghini, so he's in for a second pit stop. So maybe some drivers have decided to do the rule of thirds in this race. So pit just after half an hour, pit with 30 minutes to go, and then you've got plenty of a buffer to get you across the line without having to worry about fuel saving.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Luke, yours was. It was live last week. Sorry, my mistake on that one. Losing me marbles. But yeah, come and join. Check out that one as well. And I'm looking forward to Jack Ashton. That should be interesting. And we also spoke to Sean Clark, actually. That will go live tomorrow night on YouTube and Spotify, so you can check that one out on either platform depending on where you are. So yeah, good old Shawnee Clark was with me last week as well, and boy oh boy did we talk.
Yes, indeed. That's
We
the thing
did,
about that's the thing with podcasts. I mean, I also have my own podcast as well, where one guest actually we managed to do a podcast episode for 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, I've kind of got
But
these
that is
down to
not yet
about an hour.
that is not yet public. That is not yet public. I've still got episodes to edit and put up online. So
Yeah, I try and get them down to about an hour if I can, but there's been a couple that you really want to keep talking. Sean was fascinated. Tim Walters, oh brother, me and him, I'm sure we could have been there for about half the day. It was absolutely nuts. That guy has done so much. He's been to the Monaco Grand Prix. He's met racing drivers. It has just been absolutely nuts, some of the stuff that he's done. So, yeah, definitely have a look at Tim Walters' one. We did chop it off early, but I did say to him we'll try and get him back in and finish off. But, yeah, lots of great people coming up as well. And, yeah, well, basically about 71 of them happening. So, yeah.
right. Well, in the meantime, James Moore has just pitted in the Corvette, and Harry Seven has got through on Scott Kostrich, who has only just come out of pit lane. So, and he's on colder tyres, which thereby means that his weapons are not fully sharpened on the McLaren. And James Moore tumbling a little bit down the order. Of course, this is expected with the pit stop phase, but Callum Mynham is being caught by Mr. Fresh Rubber. There goes Sam Berry. He's got a lead of over Harry Hartley-Price of 5 seconds. Now, bearing in mind that Harry Hartley-Price stopped on lap 19. We're on lap 37. So could it be the case that Harry Hartley-Price, now that he's got no buffer in front to push the dirty air around him, that means he's going to be burning up a little bit more fuel per lap, and could that compromise his strategy? But Sam Berry, if he plays his cards right and gets to lap 44, he'll have less fuel to put in. Now we are seeing, I think the fastest pit stop I can see out of the drivers from Sam Berry down to Joseph Lopez. Quickest one has been James Moore, 21.8 seconds. So if Sam Berry can get a 20-second pit stop next time when he goes in for his final pit stop of the race, which he's going to have to do anyway. James Vardigans has just had another spill on the circuit in the number 06 Ferrari 296. But yeah, it is going to be a case that it's now, we wait, myself and JP, with bated breath as to when people are going to pull the trigger and get themselves in for what will be their second and final pit stop of tonight's activities here at Barcelona.
Yeah, it's been an interesting one. An interesting race for some and an interesting race for others, and a very interesting race for the likes of Joe Loudon, who's now has got Sean Atkinson in front, and that is the Mercedes. I believe that's Cullimore actually putting a lap on him. So Tim Cullimore there putting a lap on. I do like Cullimore's livery, looks awesome. He's just going to put a lap on him, and he's going to do the same to Sean Atkinson, which should leave Joe Loudon to fight again once more with these guys. Again, 25 minutes remaining on that one. I can throw a safety car, but I feel Sean might fire me. Nah. Tell him I did it. It's fine. I hit the button. He won't fire me, mate. It's fine.
No, it'll just be like, okay, right, let's just close everybody else up together and have a 10-minute sprint race to the end.
Yeah, I'll probably tell me to go, please don't do that again. I'll be like, okay, mate.
You like this? You guys want fuel saving? Bang! Safety car scrambled.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see how they get on. But yeah, I think, you know, 2 stops seems to be the norm at the moment. I don't think anybody's committed to the 1-stop strategy. So let's see how they get on here. And this could be a interesting way of this doing that. It'd be interesting to see if anybody can 1-stop this.
Yeah, if that's the case, then they'd be effectively like a Sergio Perez fuel and tyre whisperer kind of situation, so to speak. Like, can I do the 1-stop? It could be interesting, but it just depends on how brave people want to be, because at this first of 4 recruitment races for season 8 of the GT3 Championship, at this moment in time, because obviously the last time I think this series did a 90-minute race, we did Le Mans, didn't we? At the end of season, I think it was the end of season 6.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, and it was a case of we didn't have that many cars. I think we had about 12 to 15 cars, and the battles were so sporadic. It was obscene, I think is the term I'm going to use on that one, because we didn't really have great battles. And championships were pretty much decided from the word go, when some people were like striding away and, oh dear, Mr. Zoomies, what you done? He's gone off, but he's rejoined the circuit. But let's just see. Oh, Joseph, what have you done? What have you done? He's going to turn it in. Oh, he's going to lose it. Hey! Oh. That was more than just a glancing blow on the left rear.
Absolutely. Vardigans has also done something there as well. So, yeah, Vardigans also having a bit of an issue at one point. But this is the closest battle on the racetrack as well here.
Yeah. But also, I think Craig Corish is trying to close in on Tim Reed for third position overall. The gap is now coming down underneath the second. Joseph Lopez, no surprise, after smacking that left rear corner on the wall. He's having to go into pit lane to repair that damage. So, out of the top 14 so far, the drivers that have done 2 pit stops in this race, James Moore down in 13th, Sean Atkinson, then also Scott Kostrich. Chris Haynes now dives into pit lane, which promotes Harry 7 to 8th. Scott Kostrich to 9th. I'm sure that very shortly we'll see the likes of Atkinson, Loud and Moore possibly go past him in this pit stop phase. We've got 22 minutes on the timer remaining. So 7, Kostrich, Atkinson, Haynes, Moore. Lopez has, they said that it's third time the charm for the man in the number 21 Chevy Corvette, Mr. Zoomies, for the last couple of seasons. He's also had that in the Tanso Racing Group GR86 series as well, and did double duty. I think we had the final round of the GR86s, and then he was in action the following night for the Tanso Racing Group Clark St. James Season 7. So back-to-back adventures for that man from the US. But yeah, this could be an interesting battle if Loudon is able to get a little bit closer to Atkinson for P10 overall. And if that is the case, that means that 60% of the top 10, if we finish like that across the line, will be of AM competitors. As, to be honest with you, it's not been an easy one for Sean Atkinson in 10th position. He's made out one place. He qualified 11th on the grid, did the number 7 Lamborghini, as Daniel Poole has just pitted for the final time. 16.7 seconds. Sean Clark is now in for his final pit stop. So the way things are going, we're now on to lap 40 of the race. Looks like Harry Hartley-Price, that's going to be, yeah, we're very shortly for him to complete his 21st lap in this second stint. He did 19 laps, let's not forget, in stint 1. Sam Berry, I think, might be able to go as far as possibly, if not lap 44, lap 45. As I say that, Harry Hartley-Price has now pitted on effectively the end of lap 40. So he's managed to make it last 20 laps, 21 laps there. So he now loses his position on the field at the minute. But Craig Corish, once again in that BMW, is starting to close back in on Tim Reed. So maybe the BMW becomes a little bit more competitive as the fuel tank goes down towards the fume level.
Yeah, that could be the case, to be blatantly honest with you, and I think we're going to basically just find out how this is kind of a very much a learning curve for a lot of people. You know, Tim's got Corish closing in now, so these guys will use this to work out how they're going to get on and what's going to happen, and are they going to be able to do, you know, what the situation will be. And there's still a few people, the top 4, that haven't pitted, with basically, I think that's Sean Clark in the middle, who also hasn't pitted either. So at the moment, there's still a couple that are one stopping. As Corish around the outside, he's going to go. Is he going to be able to get the corner? No, he's not. That Tim Reed Merc holds on. Now, we've either lost Alex or he's forgot to hit that button.
Here I am. I did hit that button. I don't know why the microphone didn't engage, but never mind. Sean Clark is in. Craig Corish has decided to pit. So 18 minutes and 40 seconds still to go. Looks like Berry and Reed are really expanding their opportunity here. Now, let's not forget, Tim Reed pitted on lap 21, Sam Berry lap 22. So could these drivers really just micromanage this fuel saving situation as far as humanly possible? Joel Loudon is now in. He's on his marks, and that pit stop will take a very short time. Craig Corish, 13.78 seconds on his marks in the pit lane. Tim Cullimore out after nearly 15.7 seconds. Joel Loudon, that's taking a little bit longer than anticipated. 21, 22 seconds, maybe, if he's forgotten to uncheck the tyre box, because if they've taken tyres on the first stint, they won't need to take them for the second, unless some people may have decided. I mean, looking at the previous pit stop times, 26 and 25.5 seconds for our two race leaders respectively. That says to me, full tank, 60% worth of fuel plus a full brand new set of tyres would be the good, probably the better strategy to go with. I mean, that's probably what I would do, is just, okay, I'll only use half of the wear out of these tyres that I've got on at the moment, but I just want some fresh boots because I know I can drive it for an hour.
Yeah. And that's the thing, and I think a lot of these people are now going to be here working this out and deciding, okay, am I going to need new tyres now? I've driven this for this first, what are we, literally 15 minutes away from the end, so an hour and 15. Are they now going to be sitting there knowing what they're going to do per recruitment race? You know, okay, we need 2 stops, I'm going to need tyres because mine was shot by the time I got to the end there as well. So, yeah, this is all good practice for them. It's all good sort of getting used to the car, knowing what they're doing and everything else. And to be honest, as I say, I would trial out new cars here constantly. I'd be like, in 1 week I'll be in this, next week I'll be in that, and then I'm going to be able to decide what I want to run in for the season. So, yeah, hold on to this. We could see what a very interesting season coming up, I think.
Yeah. So Sam Berry leads Tim Reed by 11.3 seconds as we are now on lap 43 of the race here at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. As I said, next week we'll head to recruitment race number 2 at Silverstone. I'm sure there'll be quite a big entry for that one. We had 21 starters. We're down to 17 as obviously Michael Gray ducked out for the turn of the hour. Phil Giles out on lap 19. Mark Wesley lap 18, and poor old Peter Duke lap 1. And that's hopefully we'll see Pete. I know for a fact we'll see Peter back for the remainder of these 3 races. In some respects, the drivers competing in this will look at this as an opportunity to tune themselves up, ready for season 8. So once we have the full confirmed calendar, we'll divulge all that information nearer the time, once our good friends at Tanso Racing Group in Clark St James have the information to hand. As on lap 43, Tim Reed comes in with just over 15 minutes to go. That means that Sam Berry, this has been an absolutely brilliant run from Mr. Fresh Rubber. He is on course to pit, I think, 1 lap later on lap 44. And I'm going to be interested to see what Tim Reed's pit stop time is on his marks, forgetting the total pit stop time, including transfer. So 11, 12, 13.97 seconds. Here comes Craig Corish at full velocity out of the final corner. And let's not forget, Corish pitted a little bit earlier than he did, pitted 2 laps earlier. The tyres are up to temperature on the BMW, and he is going to be 3.3 seconds behind Tim Reed, who now will have colder tyres. And there is Tim Reed just going through into Renault at turn 3.
Yeah, Reed got out in front there. Great job from him. Obviously, we're waiting to see what Berry does when he goes into the pit lane, of course. He's the only one that hasn't taken 2 stops with 14 minutes to go. So we're going to find out how close these 3 are going to be. But Reed, at the moment, come out in front of Corish, and that's probably not a lot of difference apart from pit lane time. Corish was 1.5 seconds slower than Reed in the pit lane. So it's getting out and getting in. Primarily, I probably would have thought that was getting in because a lot of people have troubles going into pit lane. They slow down too early because they see this slow down sign flashing in front of them from iRacing, even though you're about 50 yards away from the yellow cone.
And as we say that, Sam Berry is in the pit lane. So 5 seconds already elapsed. There he is on his marks in the pit lane. He's going to be very close to the pit lane entry. Pit lane exit, 10.77 seconds. And that is exactly what he needed. And out he comes out of the pit lane. Way in front, way in front. And there he goes. Sam Berry can now get going on with the business at hand with 13 minutes on the timer to go until the checkered. And what is going to be the differential between him and Tim Reed? It's coming down. We're just waiting for the timing to fully reset. It is going to be about 16.5 seconds as Tim Reed fires his way into turns 1 and 2. We're going to have a moment here for James Vardigans in the Peppa Pig 06 Ferrari. Oh, that's it. Oh, those tyres are not going to love him. They're not going to send him a Christmas card this year, I'm afraid.
No,
but Craig
not.
Corish. Now the thing is that what we've noticed, and I've noticed a pattern here, JP, is that for the first 2 to 3 laps is when drivers come out of pit lane, that's where they seem to lose the most amount of time. Now, bearing in mind that Craig Corish was, 3.1 seconds behind Tim Reed after the Scotsman came out of the pit lane in the 155 Mercedes. That gap has now gone down to 1.3, 1.4 seconds. So there is a possibility that Craig Corish might get the chance to close in sector by sector. But the minute that Tim Reed has that car firing on all cylinders, tyres and brakes up to temp, he will start pulling away from Corish.
Yeah, I agree. I think he will. I don't think Corish has gone too much here, to be honest. He's 1.25 seconds back. It's going to be really Hartley Price over Cullimore, and Cullimore's an AM sitting in 4th place. So a great job from Tim Cullimore there.
Yeah. Just to think, we've seen one driver, if anyone might remember, towards the end of season 6 when we had Jared Love taking pole position towards the end of the season, was on course for a potential overall AM victory. That just goes to show how some of the AM drivers are really... And Tim Cullimore's another driver that's really developed over the last couple of seasons, but he knows for a fact that he doesn't need to fight against Harry Hartley Price. But we're now going to see the move possibly happen here into Repsol, not quite. Tim just keeps the car a little bit wider, opens up the steering a bit more, so at least if he knows that if Harry was going to dive to the inside, where they're going to go through into Sayat, and then it's going to be a left-right combination through Verth very shortly on the run up to Kamsa. But yeah, Harry Hartley Price, he's going to be really much up the inside now as Harry 7 goes into the pit lane, and Tim Cullimore is going to get the inside for the right-hander.
Wow.
And Harry Hartley Price is still thinking, come on, Tim. I know you're an AM. You know I'm a pro. But this is actually for overall track position with 10 minutes on the timer. And Tim Cullimore is actually doing a pretty sterling job up here in 4th position. He's absolutely nailed it. He started 6th. He was the highest qualifying AM in this race. And he's up 2 spots. But Harry Hartley Price going round the outside at Banks Sabadell, still unable to make the move. It's going to be coming out of New Holland as we're going down the hill from Europe Car very shortly. And Price is in the window. He's got to be about 2 and a bit tenths of a second behind. So this will give him the opportunity to get the run on Cullimore, going down into turn 1 at Elf. Very shortly. He's going to bump down.
Sorry, Corish is having a go. Down into 1 in that BMW. Through he goes. Craig Corish over Tim Reed. Cullimore is still there with Hartley Price. He's still going to have a go, is Cullimore, but I think Price should get it done now. and I wouldn't be surprised if Price started to pull away from Catlaunya. But yeah, great lot of action from Craig Corish and Tim Reed as they're continuing to scrap into the right-hander at this moment in time of Repsol before going down into Sayat, and it's going to be the same behind as well. Catlaunya in the same place, having a go at Price. I think Price should start motoring ahead, but it's going to be interesting to see if he actually does as we go into the last 8.5 minutes.
So Tim Catlaunya flirting with the gravel again, this time coming out of Sayat and on the run down to Verth, hard on the brakes, through the left, up the hill, through the right, avoid the sausage curve on the right-hand side. We've seen that catch out a couple of drivers here this evening at the Circuit de Barcelona Catlaunya. First opened back in September 1991, just the year before the Summer Olympic Games, a year later in 1992. But Catlaunya still, well, he's lost a bit of time. Yeah, you can see now the gap is expanding. It's 1.5 seconds, and Harry Hartley-Price, well, he was about 4 seconds behind Tim Reed. It's now the point where that gap has come down to about 2.2 seconds. Joseph Lopez, Mr. Zubies, has had a little bit of an off-track excursion, I think. So it's not gone well for Joseph. I mean, he may need to, whatever car he gets next time, he needs to make sure that there's that Zoomies livery with his dogs on there, with his Dachshunds, should be on the next car, as long as he can get that livery sorted out in time for Recruitment Race 2 at Silverstone 7 days from now. But at the minute, we're going to see a replay. Oh, Joseph, what have you done?
Just as you were talking about.
Yeah.
Back end's coming around. Yeah, he's got his way around.
Oh,
there we go. Again, kind of big YouTube. Listen to Tim's was well interesting. Yeah, dude, Tim's was incredible. So I do pray that everybody going to have a listen to his as well. Yeah, 6.5 minutes to go. Barry out in front. Made some great calls on the pits. Done a good job. Craig Corish is wrapped up second in a way because he's got Tim Reed separating him. I think that's Callum Milam in front of us. It is Callum there with Hartley-Price now, who's closing in on Reed. So maybe we'll have an inter-team battle for the Clark St. James Motorsport boys of Tim Reed and Hartley-Price.
Well, I'm sure there are no team orders, unlike Papaya rules. Ripper's one team.
No,
you know.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. There won't be any team orders. I think the thing is that at the end of the day, they all have respect for each other. They know that they don't want to do that cardinal sin of taking out your teammate, and that gap has really come down now. Harry Hartley-Price has really got the wind underneath his diffuser, so to speak, and that rear wing as we come into the final 6 minutes. So I would probably say the way things are going, we could have another 4 laps, including this one, as Sam Berry is already a quarter of the way around the circuit here on lap number 49. Harry Price showing his nose to Tim Reed into turn 1 at Elf. Has to back out of it at the latest moment possible. Ooh. And they're going through into Renault. Price round the outside. And there really wasn't much resistance from
that was
Tim
Papaya
Reed
rules, wasn't it?
Exactly. It's like, I placed higher than you last season.
Yeah.
Tim, get out of my way, sunshine.
Yeah, absolutely. It was Papaya rules. Please remove yourself from the equation. So yeah, that was the situation there for them two as they swap places. And now Harry will just run away from Tim here again. Callum getting out of the way once more. Sam Berrier still having a blink, but yeah, it's kind of. I think for me, I know this is a recruitment race and this is what we're going with prospectively for the season with these 90 minutes. But it just kind of, it's like a fire. And you started off at the beginning and this roaring and it's the heat and the intensity is there. And then we get to the end and it just reminds me of a little flame on a match because it's just sort of dwindling out. I'm not saying all races are going to be like this. I'm just saying Catlaunya, I told you that it was either going to be great racing or bleh. And I think we got the bleh side of it, to be honest, because this is the problem. When you're running something so long, you're kind of anticipating the distance between cars to extend, and they might, or they should have effectively come back together in the pit stops, and I do that in air quotes. But it didn't really kind of kick off and get going like I thought it was going to. Don't get me wrong, it does look like Cullimore's going to have a good old go with Reed here, but I don't know. I don't know if like 90 in one go kind of works. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a very debatable thing. And don't get me wrong, speaking to Sean last week, and he was saying like, the people voted on it and everything else, and they wanted it, and that. I don't know. I don't know for me if this is a way to go or not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but we are coming towards the end of the race. Just under 3.5 minutes remaining on the counter. Sam Berry not that far away from starting what is more than likely going to be our penultimate lap, as he's 80% of the way through the lap at the moment. He's just making his way through into Bank Sabadell. So yeah, it will be 2 laps remaining as Cullimore and Reed are battling it out tooth and nail. Tim Cullimore goes to the outside through at La Casa, and at this particular occasion he's looking left, he's looking right on Tim Reed to see if he can punch his weight past the Scotsman in the 155, as our leader now has crossed the line, and 2 laps to go here at Barcelona. Sam Berry, Mr. Fresh Rubber himself, has been absolutely masterful at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catlaunya, as we still continue our efforts on this battle here. Cullimore gets the closing speed on Reed, but they're halfway down the start-finish straight. Now the closing speed really ramps up. Where's Cullimore going to place it? He places it to the outside. Reed is going to try and defend this into Elf, or is he? Cullimore, high, wide and handsome around the outside. Textbook repeat of what we saw with Craig Corish. Oh, and there's a little glance between the pair going through turn 2 and into Renault, but Cullimore holds his ground and stays in 4th after a great round the outside overtake.
A little bit of orgy in the meantime. Cullimore getting his elbows out. I don't think he's going to stay AMS very much longer if he keeps going on like that one, having a go with these guys. We've got Sean Clark here. He's in with a Corvette of James Moore. This is an inter-AM fight, I should say. Joseph Lopez has had more drama, and so has Sergio Cabral. So I'm going to have a look at Sergio's first, because I think this is just going to be a Corvette doing that, and it's still doing it. Dude, you didn't give it a chance to settle. You're already losing it on the way in. Now, what did Joseph do again? Now, this was after the original one we saw in turn 1. Too quick. You're on the power, on the grass. Adios, senore.
Oh,
and nearly
Harry
gets smacked.
Really hit him.
Yeah, nearly gets smacked from Harry 7 and in front of the leader as well, I might add. So, yeah, lots still going on down here. It's really interesting because we get one battle and then that sort of dwindles out. And then we get another one. And this is the other one. But the problem is we've got this one on the final lap, because Sam Berry is on the final lap now, going round the right-hander at the moment. So we will pick up on what's going to happen with him. I'll keep an eye on him at the moment, but this is the final lap battle.
Yeah, and it is for 10th overall. More importantly, is P5 in the AM class. So it's Shawnee Clark versus Season 7 AM champion, James Moore, who seems to have had a lot better time than his teammate from Upshift Esports. Sergio Cabral finds himself all the way down in 14th position. And the leader making his way through Verth now into Campsa as the timer counts down. And we've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is it. 90 minutes are up as this battle feverishly wages on between James Moore and Sean Clark for the final position in the top 10. And we've got another battle here. This is Kostrich versus Paul. And the leader now making his way through into Bank Sabadell. Kostrich is going to get the move done on Paul here for P6 overall. But one man above all has championed this race here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Out of the final corner, it's lights out to checkered flag victory for Mr. Fresh Rubber himself, Sam Berry, in the 129 Mercedes AMG GT3 Evo crosses the line after 52 laps, takes the victory, and Craig Corish, with an audacious round the outside manoeuvre at turn 1 a few laps ago, retains second position for the pride of BMW. It's going to be Harry Hartley-Price in P3, Tim Cullimore in the 42 Mercedes with that wonderful Castrol livery, takes the AM Class win in 4th overall ahead of Tim Reed, who rounds out the top 5. And in the 0-1 McLaren, it's another Scotsman in the top 6. Scott Kostrich doing his best to keep the Porsche of Daniel Poole in the 82 behind. He's got enough of a window going through into La Casa for the final time. But James Moore beats Sean Clark across the line to take P10. Chris Haynes in 12th. Joseph Lopez 15. James Vardigans and Callum Milam round out the 17 runners and riders. But Scott Kostrich in the McLaren, the 0-1, comes through in towards New Holland, out of the final corner, and he is going to wrap up P6, and more importantly, second place in AM. Daniel Poole will take 3rd. Harry 7, yet to cross the line, will round out P4 behind the 5th placed pro car of Sean Atkinson in the sole Lamborghini Huracan GT3. Of course, the Lamborghini Temerario GT3 was unveiled just the other week at Goodwood at the Festival of Speed.
It was.
Atkinson ran at P5, thereby being P8 overall, and Harry 7 becomes the last driver to cross the line in 9th, thereby rounding out 4th position in the AM classification here at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya for recruitment race for Season 8, Race 1. Sam Berry wins after 52 laps by nearly 13 seconds ahead of Craig Corish and Harry Hartley-Price, rounding out the top 3. The top 3 staying exactly as they were when we went lights out and when we crossed the line to get the checkered flag. Tim Cullimore makes up 2 spots, started 6 on the grid, and picks up the AM victory in 4th ahead of Tim Reed, rounding out the top 5, followed by fellow Scotsman and runner-up in the AM for this race, Scott Kostrich in the number 1 McLaren. Daniel Poole in the 82 Porsche 911 GT3R rounds out the top 7. Ahead of Sean Atkinson for TS Liveries in the sole Lamborghini. Harry 7 in the 123 BMW. And James Moore in the Upshift Esports number 17 Corvette rounds out the top 10 ahead of Shawnee Clark. Chris Haynes, Joel Loudon, Sergio Cabral, Joseph Lopez, James Vardigans and Callum Milam rounding out the 17 finishers. Michael Gray ducked out as he said he would at the turn of the hour. Phil Giles finishing 33 laps down. Mark Wesley 34 laps down, and Peter Duke out on the opening tour of the race itself. Well, what can we say about that one? There were some good battles up and down the order here, JP, to be completely truthful, but roll on Silverstone next week for recruitment race number 2.
Yeah, it should be a good one. Should be a good one. I'm looking forward to that. I don't think we're likely to get anybody else in during the recruitment race for a chat, so we're going to wrap it up in a minute as well. But thanks so much for joining us. Don't forget you can get yourselves involved. All links down in the description below. If anybody needs one, let me know. Hit me up for the Discord if you want to come along as well. But next week, Silverstone for another 90 minutes. Now, I've just had a peek at what's going on over in the Radical SR8s at Monza Historic. And if you do want to go and watch some bonkers oval racing, and they've all just crashed at the moment, you should go over and have a look, because it has just been absolutely nuts, historic, including the oval. So yeah, go in and jump over and see what's happening there. But yeah, very interesting one. Looking forward to next week.
So join myself, Alex Goldschmidt and James Parfitt, same place, same time, here live on the JP Broadcasting Network for Tanso Racing Group and Clark St. James GT3 Season 8 Recruitment Round 2 from the home of British Motor Racing, Silverstone. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Why not follow us on social media? The links are in the description down below. And we will see you in 7 days' time. Until next time, race hard, race fair. And if in doubt, well, you better go flat out. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Thank you.